Box to Box NBA Preview, hosted by Ndegz.
Welcome to my NBA preview. Yes, I know the season have started, but we are in the top 10 and the end is near. This is my top 10. In 10th place is the team from Cleveland, the Cavaliers. In 22-23, this is how their season went. They finished with a 51-31 record, fourth in the East. They were the only team to challenge the Celtics in net rating in the leaderboard. Like, it was just between the two teams all season long. They finished with the best defense in the league. That obviously helped them a lot. Donovan Mitchell was insane. 61.4% true shooting percentage, 28.3 points per game, and even had 71 points in a game, which I think is the most since Kobe, if I'm not wrong. There have been a couple of 70s. I think someone else got 71. I think Devin Booker got 71 against the Celtics as well. Then even Mobley and Jared Allen was just amazing on defense as always. Garland and Mitchell, Darius Garland and Mitchell complemented each other well, which worked for them to actually get them the fourth seed. The glue guy in this team was Caris LeVert. Their season ended in disappointment when they lost the Knicks in 5 games. I thought they'd actually do a bit better, possibly get the second round, or even lose in 6 or 7 games. But they were just the Knicks was just a really bad matchup for them. One big hole that we saw throughout the entire season with the Cavs is at small forward. They just don't have a proper small forward who can either be a 3-and-D guy. They don't need to get a Tatum. They don't need to get KD or someone like that. They just need someone who can just play 3-and-D, solid on defense, and can score when he's needed to and make their threes, And 3-point shooting was also something that they really struggled with. And that meant someone like Evan Mobley was just getting... teams would just load up on him, right, in the paint because there's no floor spacing. So this was 2 of the biggest issues I feel like the Cavs needed to address, and I feel like they sort of addressed them. These are their roster moves. Obviously, they got Max Strus from the Heat. This was a critical move because not only have they strengthened, but they've also weakened an opponent who failed to strengthen themselves in the Heat. They got George Niang, who came in from the Sixers. Again, 3-point shooting with Max Strus and George Niang. Ty Jerome, Damian Jones. Then Tristan Thompson is back at Cleveland. Emoni Bates was the only player that was drafted. Speak more about him. And obviously, Caris LeVert extended for 2 years, $32 million. Players that they lost: Rolo went back to the Bucks. Then J.D. Osman has gone to the Spurs, as we all know. Lamar Stevens has gone to the Celtics. The fact that I can remember where all these people have gone just shows you how much time and effort I've put into doing research into these 30 teams. And they also lost Raul Neto. Their only draft pick was Emoni Bates with the 49th pick. He's someone who has scoring potential, has a bit of a slender frame. So this is just a bit like, it's almost like a punt, right? If the guy gets bigger, I don't expect him to be productive or even be in the rotation that heavily to start off the season, and I don't think I have. To be honest, I haven't watched much of Cavs games. This is the one team I can tell you for a fact I haven't watched a game from beginning to end, because I've watched almost every other team. For the Cavs, I just don't know. I just haven't gotten there yet, right? So, but I will. Expiring contracts: Isaac Okoro, Damian Jones, who is on a player option of 2.5 mil, and Tristan Thompson, who's on the minimum. So, those are the moves. This is the rotation. Point guard, Darius Garland. Shooting guard, obviously, you have Donovan Mitchell. And then Max Strus goes straight into the small forward position. At power forward, you have Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, the rim protector and rim runner at center. Looking at their bench, Craig Porter, Caris LeVert, Isaac Okoro, George Niang. That already looks like a solid 4 coming off the bench. Then obviously they have Dean Wade, Damian Jones, and then Tristan Thompson, who I don't know if he's going to be getting much of playing time. Ty Jerome and Emoni Bates, their only draft pick. My one big question for the Cavs, it goes back to the issues they had last season, and we just touched on them. Can Max Strus fill in that small forward position? Because, again, it's more than likely they're not going to have the best defense in the league this year, right? Just because a team like the Timberwolves is just proving to be a nightmare with Jalen McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, and Rudy Gobert, who looks like he's back to his former Depoy self, Defensive Player of the Year. So, can they get production from the small forward position? They just need a solid small forward, someone who can space the floor, and I guess that's why Max Strus was signed, right? And then coming off the bench as well is George Niang, where they can actually share the load. So they've brought in two wing players who are proven in the league. Max Strus was a key cog in the Heat team that went all the way to the finals last year. Solid as a catch and shoot. He can actually even shoot off his own dribble, like someone who can create his own shot. George Niang was solid from three at the Sixers, let me say, and a serviceable defender. Nothing amazing about him, but he can hold his own. And I feel like these two moves were crucial for the Cavs. It's just a matter of seeing, can this translate? And I still feel like, in as much as they have a very good team, the one thing about the Cavs is there's not many teams that they can actually say they have an advantage in terms of a matchup, right? If you look at the top 5 teams in the East, right? Let's say the Bucks, the Celtics, the Knicks, the Sixers. That's Tyrese Maxey, Drew Holiday, and Derek White at the Celtics. Then what's his name? The boy at the Knicks, who is just going off. Yes, you know him. Why am I forgetting his name? Jalen Brunson at the Knicks, and Quentin Grimes as well. So, that's the strongest position. That's where you can say the Cavs, their strongest position would be at the guards. But even the guards, Donovan Mitchell might be the only player who was a mismatch night in, night out, right? But once you start going into the top 5 teams in the East, he doesn't have probably Jalen Brunson in terms of size, but Jalen Brunson is also going to give him that work, right? So he's going to work on defense. At the Celtics, he definitely doesn't have an advantage. 2 of the best guards in the league. When you go to the Bucks, he's going to be... His bigs have to do... His bigs cannot do anything against Giannis and Brook Lopez, which means a lot of the workload and scoring load is put on him, right? So it's not really that he has a mismatch there, but he just has a lot to do against a team like the Bucks. So they need production from the small forward position just to take the load off Donovan Mitchell, and obviously Darius Garland as well, you know. So yeah, that's my one big question for the Cavs. Can they get production from the small forward position and their wings? 24-second prediction. Shot clock. Obviously the Cavs, as I've said, they're 10th in my ranking, but I think they're going to finish 5th in the East. I really fumbled that 5th. 5th in the East, shot clock is going. So the thing about the Cavs is, as I said earlier, I'm not seeing them having any mismatches against any of the top 5 teams in the East. Not when you remove them, right? So they don't have an advantage against the Celtics, Bucks, Knicks, and even the Sixers with Maxey. So they're going to be around that 45 win mark, right? I still believe they will have nights where their defense will shine through and it will carry them through those games. I'm seeing them best for 5th in the East, and they're probably going to get a matchup against one of the big boys in the East, but I don't think they will make it out of the first round yet again. And with that is my preview for the team ranked in 10th, which is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Next up in 9th place is a team from the East again, a team that has dared to believe over the last few years, but has just not broken through and made it to the promised land. Guys, we're going to South Beach.
Ready for the ultimate slam dunk of content? Don't miss out on any of our NBA previews. Hit subscribe and be the MVP of your basketball knowledge game.